d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. c5. Knight b5. Knight a6. c3. Bishop e7. a4. Short castling. Bishop d3. Bishop d7. g4. Bishop takes b5. A takes b5. Knight c7. D takes c5. Bishop takes c5. Knight f3. Rook e8. Knight e5. Bishop d6. h4. Bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Knight d7. Bishop g3. e5. Queen c2. e4. Bishop e2. Knight e5. Short castling. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. c5. Knight b5. Knight a6. c3. Bishop e7. a4. Short castling. Bishop d3. c4. Bishop c2. Bishop d7. h4. Bishop takes b5. A takes b5. Knight c7. g4. Knight takes b5. g5. Knight e8. Queen b1. g6. h5. Bishop takes g5. H takes g6. H takes g6. Bishop takes g6. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. Bishop b4. Knight e2. Short castling. a3. Bishop d6. Rook g1. Bishop takes f4. Knight takes f4. c5. D takes c5. b6. g4. B takes c5. g5. Knight e4. Knight takes e4. D takes e4. Queen takes d8. Rook takes d8. Bishop g2. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. Bishop b4. Knight e2. Short castling. a3. Bishop takes c3 check. Knight takes c3. Knight c6. Queen f3. a6. g4. b5. g5. Knight d7. Queen g3. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. Bishop b4. Knight e2. Short castling. a3. Bishop e7. Knight g3. c5. d takes c5. Bishop takes c5. Bishop d3. Knight c6. Short castling. e5. Bishop g5. d4. E takes d4. Knight takes d4. Rook e1. h6. Rook takes e5. H takes g5. Rook takes c5. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. Bishop d6. Bishop d3. Bishop takes f4. E takes f4. Short castling. Knight ce2. c5. c3. Knight c6. d takes c5. Queen e7. Knight f3. Queen takes c5. Short castling. Bishop d7. Rook e1. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. Bishop d6. Bishop d3. Short castling. Knight f3. c5. d takes c5. Bishop takes c5. Short castling. Knight c6. e4. d takes e4. Knight takes e4. Knight takes e4. Bishop takes e4. Queen takes d1. Rook f takes d1. f6. Bishop takes c6. b takes c6. Bishop d6. Bishop takes d6. Rook takes d6. e5. Knight d2. Bishop b7. Knight c4. Rook a d8. Rook a d1. Rook takes d6. Rook takes d6. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. Bishop d6. Bishop d3. Short castling. Knight f3. c5. d takes c5. Bishop takes c5. Short castling. Knight c6. e4. d4. Knight e2. Knight h5. e5. Knight takes f4. Knight takes f4. f6. Bishop c4. Knight takes e5. Bishop takes e6 check. King h8. Bishop takes c8. Queen takes c8. Knight d3. Knight takes f3 check. Queen takes f3. Bishop b6. a4. Queen takes c2. a5. Bishop d8. b4. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. a6. g4. h6. h4. c5. Queen f3. Knight c6. Knight ge2. C takes d4. E takes d4. Queen a5. Long castling. b5. g5. H takes g5. H takes g5. Rook takes h1. Queen takes h1. Knight g4. Queen f3. b4. Knight b1. Queen takes a2. Queen takes g4. e5. Queen f3. E takes f4. Knight takes f4. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. e6. e3. a6. g4. Bishop b4. Knight e2. Knight e4. Bishop g2. Knight takes c3. Knight takes c3. Short castling. Short castling. Knight c6. Knight e2. a5. Rook c1. Bishop d6. Bishop takes d6. C takes d6. b3. Knight e7. c4. D takes c4. B takes c4. Rook b8. Queen b3. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. c5. e3. a6. D takes c5. Knight c6. Knight f3. Bishop g4. Bishop e2. e6. Knight a4. Bishop takes c5. Knight takes c5. Queen a5 check. Knight d2. Bishop takes e2. Knight takes b7. Bishop takes d1. Knight takes a5. Knight takes a5. King takes d1. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. c5. e3. a6. D takes c5. Queen a5. Knight f3. Queen takes c5. Bishop d3. Bishop g4. h3. Bishop takes f3. Queen takes f3. Knight c6. e4. d4. Knight d5. Knight takes d5. E takes d5. Knight b4. Short castling. Knight takes d5. b4. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. c5. e3. C takes d4. E takes d4. Knight c6. Knight b5. e5. D takes e5. Knight e4. f3. Knight c5. Queen takes d5. Queen takes d5. Knight c7 check. King d8. Knight takes d5. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. c5. e3. c takes d4. e takes d4. a6. Knight f3. Knight c6. Knight e5. e6. Knight takes c6. b takes c6. Knight a4. Bishop d6. Bishop g3. Short castling. Bishop d3. Rook e8. Short castling. e5. d takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Rook takes e5. Rook e1. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. c5. e3. c takes d4. e takes d4. a6. Knight f3. Knight c6. Knight e5. Bishop f5. g4. Knight takes e5. g takes f5. Knight c6. Queen d3. g6. Long castling. g takes f5. Queen takes f5. e6. Queen h3. Rook g8. King b1. Rook c8. Bishop d3. Queen b6. Rook he1. Bishop b4. Rook takes e6 check. F takes e6. Queen takes e6 check. Bishop e7. Knight takes d5. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. c5. e3. c takes d4. e takes d4. a6. Knight f3. Knight c6. Knight e5. Bishop d7. g4. h6. Knight takes c6. Bishop takes c6. Queen f3. e6. Long castling. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. g6. e3. Bishop g7. h4. h5. Knight f3. Short castling. Knight e5. c5. Queen d2. Knight c6. f3. c takes d4. e takes d4. Bishop f5. Bishop b5. Rook c8. Bishop takes c6. b takes c6. Knight a4. Knight e8. g4. f6. g takes f5. f takes e5. Bishop takes e5. Bishop takes e5. d takes e5. Rook takes f5. Long castling. Rook takes e5. Queen h6. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. g6. e3. Bishop g7. h4. h5. Knight f3. Bishop g4. Queen d2. Bishop takes f3. G takes f3. Short castling. Long castling. c5. D takes c5. Queen a5. Knight takes d5. Queen takes a2. Knight takes e7 check. King h7. Queen b4. Knight c6. Knight takes c6. B takes c6. Bishop d6. Knight d5. Queen a3. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. g6. e3. Bishop g7. h4. Short castling. h5. Knight takes h5. Rook takes h5. G takes h5. Queen takes h5. e6. Long castling. Queen f6. Bishop d3. h6. Knight f3. Queen e7. g4. f6. Queen g6. f5. G takes f5. Rook f6. Queen g3. E takes f5. Knight takes d5. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d5. Bishop f4. Bishop f5. e3. e6. Knight f3. Bishop d6. Knight e5. h6. g4. Bishop h7. h4. Knight fd7. g5. Bishop takes e5. D takes e5. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. g6. Bishop f4. Bishop g7. e4. d5. Knight b5. Knight a6. e5. Knight d7. Queen d2. c5. Long castling. C takes d4. Knight f3. Short castling. h4. h5. Bishop h6. Queen b6. Bishop takes g7. King takes g7. g4. H takes g4. h5. G takes f3. H takes g6. Queen takes g6. Bishop d3. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. g6. Bishop f4. Bishop g7. e4. Short castling. e5. Knight e8. Queen e2. d6. Long castling. Knight d7. h4. c5. D takes c5. D takes e5. Bishop e3. Queen a5. h5. Knight takes c5. Queen c4. b6. H takes g6. Bishop e6. Queen h4. Knight f6. G takes f7 check. Bishop takes f7. Knight f3. e4. Bishop d4. E takes f3. Bishop takes f6. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. g6. Bishop f4. Bishop g7. e4. d6. Queen d2. Knight bd7. Long castling. Short castling. e5. Knight h5. Bishop h6. D takes e5. D takes e5. Queen e8. g4. Bishop takes h6. Queen takes h6. Knight g7. Knight f3. f6. Bishop c4 check. e6. Rook he1. Knight takes e5. Rook takes e5. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. g6. Bishop f4. Bishop g7. e4. d6. Queen d2. c6. Bishop h6. Bishop takes h6. Queen takes h6. Queen a5. Bishop d3. Knight bd7. Knight f3. e5. Long castling. b5. D takes e5. D takes e5. Knight takes e5. Knight takes e5. Queen g7. King e7. Queen takes h8. b4. Knight b1. Queen takes a2. f4. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. e6. Bishop f4. Bishop b4. e3. Bishop takes c3 check. B takes c3. d5. Bishop d3. Short castling. Knight f3. c5. D takes c5. Queen a5. Short castling. Queen takes c5. c4. D takes c4. Bishop d6. Queen takes d6. Bishop takes h7 check. Knight takes h7. Queen takes d6. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. c5. D takes c5. e6. e4. Bishop takes c5. e5. Queen b6. E takes f6. Bishop takes f2 check. King e2. Bishop takes g1. Rook takes g1. Queen takes g1. Queen d6. G takes f6. Bishop e3. d4. Knight f6. Knight c3. d6. Knight f3. Knight bd7. Rook g1. e5. g4. h6. e4. c6. Bishop e3. Bishop e7. a3. Knight f8. h3. Knight g6. Queen d2. Knight h7. Long castling. d4. d5. Knight c3. c5. e4. c takes d4. Queen takes d4. d takes e4. Queen takes d8 check. King takes d8. Bishop f4. Knight f6. Long castling check. Knight bd7. Knight ge2. e6. Knight g3. d4. d5. Knight c3. c5. e4. d takes e4. d5. Knight f6. Knight ge2. e6. Knight f4. e takes d5. Knight f takes d5. Knight takes d5. Queen takes d5. Queen takes d5. Knight takes d5. Bishop d6. Bishop e3. Short castling. Long castling. Bishop e6. Knight f6 check. G takes f6. Rook takes d6. d4. d5. Knight c3. c6. Bishop f4. Knight f6. e3. Bishop f5. f3. e6. g4. Bishop g6. h4. h5. g5. Knight fd7. Queen d2. b5. Knight h3. b4. Knight e2. Knight b6. b3. c5. Bishop h2. c4. Knight ef4. c3. Queen g2. d4. d5. Knight c3. c6. Bishop f4. Knight f6. e3. Bishop f5. f3. e6. g4. Bishop g6. h4. h6. Queen d2. Bishop d6. Knight h3. Short castling. Long castling. d4. f5. Knight c3. Knight f6. Bishop g5. e6. e4. F takes e4. Knight takes e4. Bishop e7. Bishop takes f6. Bishop takes f6. c3. Short castling. Knight f3. d5. Knight takes f6 check. Queen takes f6. Bishop d3. Knight c6. Queen e2. Bishop d7. Short castling. Rook ae8. Rook fe1. d4. f5. Knight c3. Knight f6. Bishop g5. d5. e3. e6. g4. F takes g4. h3. g3. f4. h6. Bishop h4. d4. e5. d takes e5. Knight c6. Knight f3. Queen e7. Bishop f4. Queen b4 check. Bishop d2. Queen takes b2. Knight c3. Bishop b4. Rook b1. Queen a3. Knight d5. Bishop takes d2 check. Queen takes d2. King d8. e4. Queen takes a2. Rook d1. d4. c5. d5. e5. e4. Knight f6. Knight d2. Bishop e7. Bishop d3. d6. a4. Short castling. Knight e2. Knight e8. Short castling. Bishop g5. b3. b6. Bishop b2. Knight a6. f4. E takes f4. Knight takes f4. Knight b4. Bishop b5. a6. Bishop e2.